Hey, what's up guys, BoHD here. In Apple's WWDC, or Worldwide Developer Conference of 2021, it kicked off today, bringing a bunch of new software updates and features coming to all of your Apple devices. I watched the event and I took a bunch of notes, and I've whittled down a list of the biggest announcements made at the event. So let's not waste any time, let's just jump right into it, starting with FaceTime. The app is going to look a lot like Zoom. It'll let you schedule calls and share links with people, including non-Apple users for the very first time. So yes, FaceTime will now officially work with Android and Windows users via the web browser. There's actually not going to be a dedicated app, at least not yet. It's going to work in the device's web browser. But it's still huge news, definitely an improvement. In addition, it's bringing support for spatial audio. There's a new Share Play feature that lets you share media with people on FaceTime virtually. There's going to be support for portrait mode and selective audio to help you record cleaner audio that doesn't pick up the sounds in your background unless you want it to. The Share Play feature is interesting because it's actually going to be baked into a bunch of apps. It's already baked into or incorporated into a handful of Apple apps, but Apple is sharing a Share Play API for developers, which they can use to support the feature in their apps. So in the not too distant future, you'll be able to play games with people at the same time virtually. You'll be able to listen to music together, watch shows together, and much, much more. I've seen a bunch of third-party apps that really became popular for allowing you to do this very feature. And I kind of feel for the developers of those apps because Apple is now baking that functionality into their operating system. So it's probably going to upset some developers, but hey, the feature will be more widely accepted and used by more people. So I guess that's a win. Now, notifications are being improved with a fresh new look and larger icons, but one of the most important and noteworthy new features coming to notifications is Notification Summary. This will offer a collection of notifications that will be delivered at a certain time that is convenient to you, and they'll be ordered based on their priority. The idea is really to help reduce the constant buzzing and vibrations and distractions that you get on a daily basis. And what's also neat is that the notifications you get from people actually won't be included here. So they'll still come through and buzz your phone accordingly just fine, just like usual. It's the other less important notifications that can be saved for later essentially and included in this notification summary. Now, the Photos app is getting a new update that will soon allow you to search for text across all of your images. So if there's like a logo or a street sign or a restaurant in the background, you'll be able to search for it and find those photos easier than ever before. You'll also be able to interact with that text by just highlighting it on your phone and copying the text right there in the camera or the Photos app, which is pretty neat. And the artificial intelligence behind the scenes will also be able to automatically scan for objects, landmarks, pets, and nature to, once again, help you find photos easier. These powerful new search improvements will also be included in the Photos app, as well as the search bar when you swipe down on the home screen. So you'll be able to just quickly be able to search through your photos right there from your home screen. The Wallet app has been adding various features left and right over the years. They've let you add your various credit and debit cards. You can add Disney theme park passes and airplane tickets. But later this fall, in select states, you'll be able to actually add your driver's license or your state ID to the Wallet app. So you'll pretty much be able to ditch your physical wallet entirely and leave it at home and just bring your iPhone with you wherever you go. And I think that is really awesome, but it does obviously raise some maybe privacy concerns, and it just is going to be different. Like, I've already seen some people concerned with certain circumstances, like let's say if you get pulled over and the cop asks you for your ID, are you going to have to give them your phone? And if so, that's going to obviously create a whole slew of potential privacy violations, because we do so much in our phones nowadays. If a cop has access to this, it's kind of a violation of your privacy. So I'm curious to see how Apple addresses this. This is obviously an optional feature. It's not even going to be a feature that's available in all states across the US, but just know there's going to be pros and cons. But basically what you do, according to the Apple demo at their event, you just scan your ID and the app will add all the important information that you need. And Apple says that the TSA is actually going to be the very first partner to support the new digital ID feature. So you'll actually be able to use your digital ID at airports, which I think is really, really neat. But those are really the biggest new iOS app updates, but almost every Apple app, it seemed, got updated with some new look or subtle new feature, whether it be with Siri support or adding just more information than what was available before, as is the case with Apple Maps. But transitioning to iPadOS 15, it's getting some pretty big new changes to help it sort of catch up to iOS and also help it take advantage of the big display that you have with an iPad. So you'll finally be able to actually add widgets to the home screen and access the app library to see folders of all of your apps. And you can even hide select home screens if you want. There's a new multitasking menu of sorts at the top of the screen now that'll let you select whether you want to make an app full screen or enable a split view to run two apps side by side simultaneously. And by swiping down on one side of an app, you'll actually be able to select a new app, and then it'll automatically go back to this split screen view. But I gotta say, these updates are pretty great and they definitely make the iPad a lot more useful. I've always struggled to find a really good use case for my iPads, just because I have a MacBook most of the time with me and it has a keyboard and a trackpad, which my iPad doesn't natively have. So just little things like being able to run two apps simultaneously and quickly multitask a lot more efficiently and effectively is definitely welcomed. And Apple mentioned that the Notes app will now support mentions, so you can be like @BoHD, which will send a link or a notification to that person. And it'll also support hashtags, so you can add hashtags to your notes to let you find notes easier by searching for them. And you can quickly take a note on your iPad, no matter what screen you're on, just by swiping up from the bottom right corner of the screen and jot down a note. And then when you're done, you just swipe it back away and you're good to go. The Translate app is also coming to iPad, and there's this new auto translate feature that will let you communicate with others who speak a different language. It'll automatically detect when you're done speaking and which language you or the person you're speaking to is speaking, and it'll translate accordingly back and forth, supposedly without really any intervention. And last but not least is the ability to build apps directly on your iPad via Swift Playgrounds. You couldn't do that before. Now, Apple announced a slew of various privacy-focused features at WWDC. For example, Apple Mail will block tracking pixels with mail privacy protection, and Safari will hide your IP address, as will actually the Mail app. And Apple is also adding an app privacy report, which will provide an overview of various privacy-related matters relating to your apps, such as like how often an app uses your camera, microphone, location, etc. They also announced a new iCloud Plus subscription service that takes privacy to another level. It includes a VPN service. It'll let you create unlimited burner email addresses. So if an app wants you to sign up for something, you can just easily create like just a garbage email address for that app. And you can also store unlimited footage from your various HomeKit-enabled home security cameras. Apple is still continuing to support Siri. It's finally going to be able to work offline without an internet connection, and it's been made faster and more secure. It processes voice requests on your device and not in the cloud, unlike some other services and voice assistants. Siri is also coming to third-party accessory makers. Apple demoed Siri working with an Ecobee thermostat, but we should see a bunch of various hardware support Siri in the coming months. Now, watchOS 8 didn't get a ton of new features, but Apple did say it's getting a new mindfulness app to help you become more mindful throughout your day. There's a new Photos watch face, some new workout types, and improved support for the Wallet app. And last but not least, as far as operating systems go, we have macOS Monterey, the newest macOS release we have for Mac devices. By far, the biggest new feature is the ability to use the same mouse and keyboard across your iMac, your MacBook, and your iPad. It's pretty amazing how well this worked in the demo that they shared, and it's really only possible with Apple's super locked down, controlled ecosystem where they control the hardware and the software. This new feature will actually allow you to not only move your mouse across all these devices, but actually drag and drop a file from, let's say, like your iPad over to your Mac or vice versa, just super easily. Other than that, really a lot of the features and changes for iPadOS and iOS are being supported in macOS Monterey, like Siri shortcuts are now being supported in this desktop operating system. And it really just goes to show that all of Apple's operating systems are really just becoming a heck of a lot more similar and merging into one complete operating system, I guess, that supports all sorts of different hardware. Sadly, we did not see any new refreshed MacBook Pros, which were rumored to be a possibility here at WWDC 2021. We also did not see Apple announce support for various Pro apps for the iPad, especially since the new iPads support the M1 chip, which the new Macs also support. So it makes sense for Apple to release a professional Final Cut app or a Logic app for iPad, but they didn't. But before I go, the one last thing I have in my notes here that I just want to mention as if I'm actually reading off my notes. Safari is getting a brand new look. It has condensed tabs. There's actually a new tab bar with tab groups. And also worth mentioning is web extensions for Safari are now coming to iOS and iPad OS. So Safari running on those operating systems will support extensions. That's pretty cool. So those are the biggest new features, changes, improvements, whatever you want to call them, announced at WWDC 2021. I will link the full WWDC video in the description if you want to watch it in its entirety and check out all of the nitty-gritty details that Apple announced at the event. But I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. Which feature or announcement was your favorite? I personally think that the digital IDs feature is pretty neat. Definitely one of the biggest features, I would say, at the event. And also the continuity of macOS Monterey and how seamlessly it works across all of Apple's various operating systems is just really cool. Curious to see how these operating systems continue to mesh in the coming years, and if we'll just see like one operating system to rule them all. I'm kind of bummed out we didn't get any new hardware because I'm a big hardware guy, but I'm sure we will in the not too distant future. With that said, guys, I'm Beau HD from Slash.tv. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.